Good morning, Cyclones. I'm Katherine Hinderbury.
And I'm Donovan Kennedy. Maria couldn't be here today. She's indisposed.
We begin with an unfortunate update on the missing Malaysian flight MH370. The Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Razak, said that after a 5-day international search, satellite coverage from the English company Inmarsat has concluded that MH370 flew along the southern corridor of the Indian Ocean and that its last position was in the middle of the ocean west of Perth. Malaysian Airlines sent a message to the passengers' families that Malaysian Airlines has to assume beyond any reasonable doubt that MH370 has lost and that none of those on board survived. It's terrible news.
In sports, several of SHG's sports teams may be moving up a class due to the IHSA's new success factor rule. This rule causes non-boundary schools like SHG to jump to a higher class if they reach the state championship multiple times in a certain time span. This rule is meant to counteract the perceived advantage held by private schools because students can potentially be recruited to go to a private school without the hurdle of a family needing to move into the district. With the success of many of SHG's teams, most notably the football team with state championships in 2005, 2006, and 2008, the team would have faced the possibility of playing in the 6A or even 7A classes against significantly larger schools. Furthermore, with the state championship in 2013, the rule could take effect against the team as soon as 2015 if the team were successful in reaching the state title game again next year. For more on this, we go to football coach and athletic director Ken Leonard.
So how could the new rule change affect SHG?
Well, it would affect a number of our sports. If we get to the state championship or there's a state tournament, depending on what sport, twice in a 4-year span, then we would move up a class. It would drastically affect some of our girls' sports, tennis, girls basketball, volleyball, those sports. They would move up another class, which means move them up several thousand students that we'd be competing against. And we just feel that it's a definite discrimination against private schools. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about it, or?
I just hope that that the IHSA looks at this and I think we're going to meet with them in the next couple weeks, all the private school community, and try to get something worked out where it's a little bit more fair.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Our final news story focuses on Illinois politics. A statewide coalition called Change Illinois is trying to put an amendment for our state constitution on the ballot for November to prevent gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is when politicians draw the borders of congressional districts in a biased way so that one political party has an unfair advantage. Every decade, Illinois must redraw political lines in accordance to population, but there has been scrutiny that the Democratic Party has been using gerrymandering to unfairly claim the upper hand in elections, allowing their wins to be practically guaranteed. The proposed constitutional amendment calls for the creation of an independent 11-member commission that would be in charge of redistricting. Change Illinois announced last week for the creation of the Yes for Independent Maps citizen-led ballot initiative. The Southern Illinoisan reports that the Yes for Independent Maps campaign has proposed creating a bipartisan commission to draw districts, which would take this power out of the hands of the lawmakers. If this were to be instituted, campaigns would become much more fair and allow for relatively equal chance of success for each political party. The campaign needs to collect around 300,000 signatures before May 4th, but the organizers are hopeful that they will attain even more.
And now on to Entertainment Review with Mrs. Becker.
Good morning, Cyclones. It's time for another 60-second book review. This week we'll be discussing Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. Now, Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore is unlike any bookstore you've been in before, guaranteed. For one thing, it's open 24 hours, and for another, it allows customers to borrow books more like a library than a bookstore. And most people do borrow books, very few purchase anything, which begs the question, how does Mr. Penumbra's bookstore stay in business? Another weird thing, there are only 3 rules for working in the bookstore. Number 1, you must always show up on time for your shift and you can never leave early. Number 2, you cannot browse, read, or otherwise inspect the shelf books. And number 3, you must keep precise records of every transaction, including the customer's appearance, their state of mind, the date, the time, how he or she asked for the book, and so on. When Clay Janin finds himself out of work in San Francisco, he stumbles upon Mr. Penumbra's bookstore and a job. The longer he works at the store, though, the more he becomes restless. With the help of his MacBook, his friends at Google, and Industrial Light and Magic, he begins to trace patterns in the books that are borrowed. And he uncovers a secret that will send him on a quest that may help him save the very code of life. To find out if he's successful or simply enjoy the journey with him, check out Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore. Did I mention the cover glows in the dark?
Books are so cool.
Definitely.
And now on to Weird Stuff with Bailey Swift.
Hi, my name is Bailey Swift, and this is Weird Stuff. This week's topic on Weird Stuff is weird facts. The Boab tree can hold 32,000 gallons of water in its trunk. That's more water than what most water towers can hold. Sunflowers can be used to clean up radioactive waste. And there are enough restaurants in New York for someone to eat out every night for 54 years and never go to the same restaurant twice. And graphene is the world's strongest material. It's 1,000,000 times thinner than paper and 200 times stronger than steel. That's it for this week on Weird Stuff. Back to you.
I never knew that about sunflowers.
Yeah, maybe we can use them to repopulate Chernobyl. It's a lot of area we need to use. Now on to Word of the Day with Steve Sartori.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Esteban Sartori, and this is the Spanish word of the day. The Spanish word of the day is empollón, and that is basically a young person who studies so much that they have no social life. So kind of like Mark Zuckerberg when he was creating Facebook in Harvard or wherever he was. But I guess that's not such a bad thing considering he's making billions. Well, this is the Spanish word of the day. Adios!
Steve's talking about me again.
Same. On behalf of all of us here at the Cyclone Broadcasting Network, thanks for watching. Stay golden, Cyclones. And here are your birthdays of the week.